While there is not one blanket insurance provider we can recommend for all Canadians' needs, our advisors have the experience and research to help you make the most informed choice. Factors to consider can include price, coverage amounts, the approval process, or even the financial strength of the insurance provider. Our years of experience help us compile the country's most comprehensive reviews of Canadian life insurance companies. Head to PolicyAdvisor.com in the description links below to learn more. Our insurance experts, Larissa Marzetti, Dr. Muid Shields, and Carly Griffin, share how they help Canadians find the best life insurance policy for both their needs and their budget.
So I think most clients definitely, when they think of the best, they're looking for lots of times the cheapest. What has the lowest premium so that I don't have to pay very much for the policy that I'm looking for. So that's definitely one way. And usually you kind of see that, prices do vary between all the companies, but sometimes you get, a cluster of companies that are within pennies of each other. So then I usually kind of look at, okay, what are additional options with those policies? For instance, if it's a term policy, I like to know that the company also allows it to be, renewable and convertible. And as well as, looking at the convertible options and seeing what that company actually has to offer in terms of a permanent product. If it's a company that doesn't have any whole life insurance and is not convertible, is that really, it might work for the client, it might not. Something else to consider is different companies have different rating systems and take different health issues and different scenarios differently. If you're a smoker, for instance, some companies will put a much heavier premium on that than if you're a non-smoker. If you have pre-existing health conditions, some are a little bit more lenient, some aren't. So it really is very an individual process. I can't just kind of sit here and say, oh, company A is the best and this is all we sell and this is the best for every single person. It's definitely not a one size fits all kind of thing. So there's a lot of different factors there.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of working with PolicyAdvisor. We're partnered with over 20 of Canada's largest, most well-known life insurance companies. So when it comes to choosing the best company, of course, first and foremost, everybody looks at premium, and what's the most competitively priced premium is often a number one factor in deciding which company to go to. But more often than not, there's only a couple of dollars between each company. So what I like to do when I'm helping a client choose the best insurance company for them, it comes down to a number of factors. I'll point out some key differences, how quick is a company in underwriting an application? Do they have any free benefits or free riders attached to the policy that might help that particular client? And do they offer an electronic policy or maybe an online account versus not having an online account? And then, of course, health considerations. No one client is the same, so some insurers are more lenient than others. So who's going to give that client a more seamless process to being approved without a rating is another sort of factor to take into account as well. So when it comes to the best insurance company, I don't have a preference. It really just comes down to what the personal preferences are for that particular client and what can work best for them.
So we kind of work backwards. We don't start off looking at companies. We start off looking at your overall needs. So as I was mentioning kind of earlier, looking at your individual circumstance, finding the right solution for you, and then going from there. So not all carriers offer every term length. They don't offer every product. So narrowing it down to what carriers do offer this that works within your needs. And then we evaluate from there. And of course, there are some carriers that are smaller, less well-known compared to some of the bigger carriers. So we do kind of analysis there, as well as making sure that it works within your budget. So if you do have a limited budget that we're trying to work within, finding the best solution there, as well as our carriers that work within that budget. A lot of our carriers are pretty competitive. So you're gonna see maybe $1 or $2 difference in the most top 5 or 6 carriers. They're not going to be too drastically different depending on your needs, but overall, We would kind of evaluate what you're looking for, if it is important to you to have online account access, if it's important to have PDF copies of your documents, things like that. Helps us eliminate carriers that don't offer those things and narrows it down even more. So always goes off of what your overall needs are to start, and then we recommend our carriers off of that.